Hi guys, welcome to DOdaily. Hope you're well. Des here, of course. Who's ready for some Monday motivation? Who's ready to get out there and never miss a Monday? Unfortunately, I've just been out. I tried to film the video, but it's a little bit dark. It's a little bit too windy, so I'm going to come back and do it again. It's not something I'm used to doing, but it's just a blip. Not to worry. And it's important to remember that, isn't it? This week we're facing a really difficult situation as the week goes on. Of course, the full UK lockdown is going to sort of come into force again. And it's going to restrict us doing some of the things that we really enjoy doing. But hopefully through DOdaily, we can encourage you to stay active, and in turn, stay positive. That's really important. And if you do that, we'll get through this situation a lot better than what we would do by giving into it a little bit, by dwelling on things. It's really not the time to sort of do that. And first of all, I'll mention the Saturday selfie. What an effort, guys. Absolutely brilliant. Of course, we use the theme of Halloween. I look to sort of find a different theme to inspire the idea every week. And lots of the guys took that on board. Some really quirky selfies, It was really great to see. And it definitely does the trick in getting people out. Myself didn't get out till late on Saturday. Seeing some of the pictures, seeing what you guys are doing was brilliant in sort of getting me out there and making sure I do it. Of course, I don't normally struggle with motivation, but the point is there that everybody does a little bit. Whilst I could be positive most of the time, I mentioned at the back end of last week, I just started to struggle a little bit. Thankfully, by talking, by doing DOdaily, by sort of taking part in these things we do, it's pulled me out of that. And where I felt I was spiralling a little bit, I've actually really picked myself up. Using the weekend as a bit of a rest has really done the trick as well, just to sort of get me thinking again what we can do, get me focused back on sort of content for DOdaily and going into the new week and how we approach it. We've experienced this already once, haven't we, 6 months ago. So whilst it's disappointing, whilst it feels like sort of one step forward to take 2 steps back, it's definitely not that, is it? Whilst it wasn't great coming through the last lockdown period, we'll have obviously learned from it. We'll have become a little bit more resilient, a little bit more confident that if we do the things we should, keep within the rules, keep our social distance, keep washing our hands, we know that the situation will get better. It got better last time, for a period of time, of course. Lots of factors sort of have made it happen again. But if we do what we do, hopefully in 28 days' time, we'll be looking forward again and looking towards getting back to some sort of normality. Whilst it's never going to be normal again, and that's not all for a bad reason. Lots of things have developed because of COVID, because of lockdown, but lots of things are worth taking forward. And for me personally, DOdaily, the things we do now online, virtually, in solidarity, they're definitely worth taking forward. Even when we can get back to a primary sort of purpose of offering up group activity, it's absolutely fantastic to get involved with people, to get that feeling, to get that encouragement and support in person. We can do that online, we can do that in a different way, and it's important for me to take this forward and keep passing on that message, because whilst we're restricted to an area in normal times, right now we can extend that offer to absolutely anyone that wants to get involved. And what it does do is allow people to get involved if they're not that comfortable at walking into a group situation. I've experienced that through running groups. People aren't always that comfortable. It gives a nice, easy way in for people to looking at what we're doing, take on a bit of advice where and when needed. Nobody's going to get absolutely everything from it, just take on the advice where and when needed. And if you do that, if you sort of use some of the inspiration the guys around us are giving, take part in some of the activities, feel good for that, get the endorphins flowing, we'll definitely get through it. And it's really important to remember that. It really is. I can't emphasize that enough. So use those things that worked last time. use that experience. That's what I'm saying, you know, to really attack it, to remember it's only a temporary measure, and it will only ever be temporary. You know, how long depends on how we deal with it, but by doing the right thing yourself, you know, it's going to have a domino effect, on a knock-on effect to everybody else around us. If you're doing what you should, if people see you doing the right thing, if you're feeling great, if you're being kind to people, you know, it's important to sort of know that that's how we're going to get through it, and that's how we're going to get through it with the strength, you know, building that resilience, and being prepared for whatever's going to be thrown at us again in the future. Of course, on a Monday, what I like to do is run down the offering. You know, we work to a 7-day activity plan. I mentioned there the Saturday self is always a fantastic way to end the week. But I like to get out on a Monday. Touched on already, I've already been out. I plan on going out for a run after the video's gone live. So I'll be listening back then. Listen, watch, you know, whenever you can. Tune in at 6 every day if you can. That's the main point. But the point is to sort of use it to your benefit and use it when you can. So Monday's all about Monday motivation. Of course, Tuesday is the start of the real sort of group activity, the inclusive activity we offer. We've got the Do Running City Slickers Solidarity session. Do you know, it's a session where we all get involved at 6:30. Do you know, virtually, of course, in our own sort of space, but at the same time, you don't have to do it at the same time, but if you can, what tends to happen is you might not be feeling it with an hour to go, and then as you see people as you think about people sort of being out there at the same time, posting their pictures in later on, it's got a great knack of getting you out the door and being part of it. It's absolutely fantastic like that. Do you know, not everyone buys into it, but those that have, it's really done the trick. I know of half a dozen people who've used it to really sort of get back into running, even before lockdown. They wasn't particularly on it anyway, but they've used that session in particular to sort of add that little bit of structure, to add that sort of team ethic to their individuality, you know, and give it a real go. And it's important to get involved. So if you can, you know, I encourage guys, the Do Running community, to put on the t-shirts. But if you're not part of that, stick on a yellow t-shirt, you know, just trying to symbolise what we're doing a little bit, trying to build it into something a bit bigger than what it is at the moment, you know, and hopefully it's a way of showing people outside our little bubble right now exactly what we do. Do you know, please get involved, it's absolutely fantastic. On Wednesday, I look to offer the Wednesday Workout Challenge. Do you know, it's through another group I'd run locally, the Do Running Trent Bridge group. It's a real nice group with a massive social element to it, and it's important for me to try and keep that going, do you know. So I try and create a challenge. Do you know, as the week goes on, we all get bogged down with work, with normal life, with families, with the situation, you know, starts climbing on top of us again. We start getting busy, things are sort of building up. So what I like to do is offer that sort of breakaway moment where what you can use to motivate yourself, to get out of the door, get that activity and take some time back for yourself. Whilst activity is not always easy, whilst it can be quite strenuous and hard work, you know, it's never easy, I always say that. It gives you that opportunity to use the time for yourself, to reward yourself by doing something what you get so much from, and you will get so much from. And it just sort of, if you're getting a bit stressed, it can bring that stress level down. And incidentally, I was reading today, Wednesday's actually Stress Awareness Day. So it'd be really important to sort of bear that in mind, and bear in mind how you can get out there. I've got an idea about that particular challenge. I'm going to be looking at that a little bit more tonight. Somebody messaged me today and showed me something in a WhatsApp message, and it actually made me think, oh, I could potentially use that on a Wednesday. So it's great in that sense, you know, there's no sort of set formula here, it's just working off different things, and the more the conversation carries on, the more we get involved in this group activity, the more comes out of it, and that's what's really important for me. So, like I say, look out in the closed Facebook group, and I'll speak more about that on Tuesday training tomorrow. On Thursday, I look to answer your questions. keep posting those in, guys. Do you know, it's absolutely fantastic when I receive a question. I don't always know the answer. I barely know the answer, to be honest, but I've got my own thoughts and opinions, and that's all it's about. Try not to be too technical. If I do have to do some research, I just try and find little bits of information, you know, bite size, just easily to digest, you know, make it sort of real and sort of honest. You know, I'm no expert in what I do here. I watch a lot of people to try and learn all the time, but I realise that sometimes you don't need all this information thrown at you at once. What you need is just somebody who's just the same. Do you know, I'm not a particularly fast runner. I'm not an expert in mental health, do you know, but I do want to learn. I do want to pass on a message because I was inspired from what people have done for me over the last couple of years, the difference it's made to my life, you know, and that's why I do it, and that's why it's really important for me to keep going. I mentioned last week on Friday that I was really struggling with the Thursday episode. You know, I generally do these things and I get through them, you know, and I'm quite pleased with my output, but I was struggling. I found myself struggling towards the end of the week, but in a way that just shows that I'm real, you know, I'm experiencing it. We're all on this roller coaster, you know. It's not just, it don't just happen in COVID, it don't just happen in lockdown. We need to remember that as well. The nights have got dark, you know. Some people struggle naturally at this time of year, do you know, so it's important to remember that not everything's down to one thing, but if we take small actions to try and improve it, if we keep talking to each other, if we keep advising and listening is so important, do you know, we'll get there in the end. And so if you can input into that, I love getting you involved in that way. Do you know, of course, I threw the question out there. It was Halloween at the weekend whilst we did the Saturday selfie. What I also sort of asked of you was if you could let me know of your hour moments around activity. Do you know, I put in a social media post today. Whilst that appears to be negative and asking for a bad situation, what I'm looking to do is flip that into an inspirational story. Do you know, how we've bounced back? Because the reality is, whatever happens, as human beings, we're pretty resilient. We're pretty good at bouncing back. Do you know, generally, we'll have a bad times, we'll have a good times, do you know. And it's a case that the bad times don't have to define the good times, do you know. They don't have to sort of be prolonged. They don't have to be prolonged and take up too much of a time and get us down for long periods, you know. If we learn how to accept them, if we learn how to deal with them, like we are with COVID, like I mentioned about that first situation, we're building our knowledge, we're building our resilience, you know, and when we realise that form is temporary, class is permanent, I guess, do you know, that's one way of putting it, do you know. And when we realise that, and we realise that we can bounce back, and we will bounce back, you know, you'll do it a lot quicker. And that's what was happening with me at the end of last week. Of course, I've got the sort of opportunity to use DOdaily to keep me focused, to keep my mind on sort of moving forward all the time. So it's just important to remember that we will get through it. And just by keeping the conversation going, Thursdays in particular, you know, whilst getting involved in the activity is fantastic, do you know, we offer something slightly different there, do you know, just to sort of encourage that. And then on Friday, it's slightly different again. I come on for 7 a.m, you know, go out, wake up to walk, try and get somewhere different, try and inspire people to go to different places, to use different environments, to really attack the day, wake up early. Something I've been really trying to do. It's a real battle for me, to be honest, and I think that was the cause of me feeling a bit low at the end of last week. I got too tired, hence the importance of taking a bit of a rest. But if you can get up early, if you can get your sleep right, you know, if you can get yourself into good routines, and that's what this is all about. The whole plan across the week is about getting into great routines and keeping that conversation going. And if we're doing both of those things, we're halfway there. You know, I always say one positive action leads on to another. So by doing those things, by getting up early, I get myself organised, I get myself sorted, you know. And I spoke on Friday about what I was going to do at the weekend, and I did what I said I was going to do. and now I'm attacking a brand new week with lots of positivity. Whereas if I'd not done that, if I'd not done what I said I was going to do, if I'd have kept trying to push through too hard, not listen to other people, not listen to those around me, then I'd have perhaps been spiraling out of control a little bit now. But we've got plenty to look forward to, whatever's happening this week, guys. Please join us if you can. Any of those sessions, all of those sessions, watch at 6 p.m. daily, apart from Friday, of course, or watch whenever you can. It's just about keep passing the message on. While some of it will come across as repetitive, I had a great conversation with a friend yesterday about how all this works. That's the point, isn't it? That person said to me that they didn't understand that at first, but as they've been watching it, they understand how important it is to keep getting reminded, keep getting sort of told what's available and how you can get involved and why it's important. And whilst the message is not always perfectly put across, just like there, it's something I'm working at. I'm listening to others. I'm doing things to try and make it better, to try and create a better experience for all. So like I say, guys, please join us. I'll be back tomorrow for Tuesday training. It's always a bit of a, come on, let's give it a go. A bit of a G up to get involved in the real activity. If you do have to miss a Monday, which there's still plenty of time to get out there, at least for a walk, walk to the shops, walk around the block, whatever you need to do, make the most of it. Start it in a great frame of mind, and when Thursday kicks in and the lockdown, you'll be on top of it, you'll be ready to give it, you'll be ready for it, more ready for it than last time, and that's what's important. If you like the videos, of course, please like and share. It's really important to keep spreading the word, to keep getting people involved. I've had great support with this so far. Somebody's knocking at the door now, so for now, just doing it. Hello.